Cool story now. We know poetry, of course, a beautiful art form, right, that's been practiced for thousands of years. But the way people are writing it certainly has evolved. A living poem is what our next guest calls the work he's putting together for his newborn son. And it is so beautiful that many people are starting to take notice now. So without further ado, that father and author, Joseph Fasano, joining us live now. Joseph, thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. We found some of your poetry online and we're just so interested to learn more. Again, you're calling it a living poem, right? And it's for your son, Leonardo. Tell us what exactly this work is of yours and how you came up with this idea.
Sure, it's a pleasure to be here. I think that at this moment, especially with everything going on in the world, we can all use what feels like a fresh start. And I started writing this poem to my son, and I'm a poet and I'm a novelist, and normally I share my work in the traditional way. I publish books and people find them on bookshelves, as much like the one behind me. And that's all very wonderful, but there was something in me sort of burning to just put this poem out there with all of the kind of messiness of parenthood and the dailiness of things. And as I started to speak to him, even before he was born, I started working on this poem. I found myself really trying to pass along little bits of wisdom that I've gained along the way. And as I say, I just feel that it's resonating with people because all of us feel like we could maybe find that child in us again and have maybe a fresh start and use these social media spaces for love rather than hate, and for hope and wonderment rather than the kind of cynicism that we see all the time these days.
Joseph, well, it's such a wonderful thing you've taken up. I'm curious too, I mean, for those just kind of tuning in, just kind of what that process has been looking like for you. Again, it's on Twitter, right? You just kind of, tweeting a line a day or of sorts, or kind of what does this day-to-day project look like for you?
Exactly. Sometimes it's really, whatever moves me at the moment. Sometimes it's a line a day. Sometimes I'll look at my newborn son and something will occur to me and I'll say, I really want to share this right now in real time with people. And it's been wonderful to hear from parents, from mothers, from fathers, from fans of poetry that really seem to be connecting to the kind of, I think honesty behind the project. It's just as messy as parenthood can be at times. So it's just something that I like to call a living poem because it's developing organically. It's happening sort of as life happens, as it were.
Such a cool avenue that you've taken up, Joseph. And, like you said, too, I'm sure it's resonating with a lot of people. Curious, too, I mean, at the end of the day, what you hope your son ultimately takes away from this, right? Or anything you've learned in the process about parenthood? Kind of what are your big takeaways from documenting all of this?
The great American poet Robert Bly, who just recently passed away, he said one of the great casualties of modern life is the father-son bond, and there's a way in which that can become compromised. And I hope that as my son grows, that he can learn, not only from my actions but also from these words, something he can carry with him about that father-son bond. Maybe one day, if God forbid, I'm not around. And I just feel we live in a time where sometimes our response to trauma is to turn to hate and to categorically hate different groups of people, whether it's men, whether it's women, whether it's whatever it might be. And I hope this poem can teach my son to love every part of himself, even and maybe especially if it's a part of himself that he fears. And hopefully the poem can give that gift to anyone who might want to receive it.
Joseph, well, again, it's a wonderful thing that you've done, and just hearing you talk about it is just, of course, that much more amazing. So thank you again for taking up this incredible project. And like you said, sharing it with the world through social media. Recap for us, if you will, just, for those tuning in, where people can follow along with this, just keep up to date with you and your writings.
Sure. The poem can be found on Twitter at stars_poem. And people could also find it via my Twitter feed, which is Joseph_Fasano_, or as you have there on my website. So a lot of different places, but stars_poem is where the poem can be found online. And I'm going to just, keep going as long as we can, and hopefully bring some joy to people.
Well, you certainly are doing that, and certainly what a treasure Leonardo will have when he grows up and is able to read Twitter. So, Joseph, thank you again so much, and keep up with the great project. It's wonderful. Thanks.
My pleasure.